Welcome to the Reality Revolution, everyone. I'm here a little early. I'll give everybody a little bit of time to show up. It's been a while since I did a live, and so I'm super excited to do it. I have gathered some questions that people have asked both on Facebook and on chat. I'll primarily be looking at chat. So if you have a question, feel free to put it in chat. There's really no bad question that you can ask. I constantly and regularly get requests to talk about some of the stuff that we talk about on the podcast. So I thought it was important to spend some time and go over some of this stuff because some of it is confusing. Some of it doesn't make sense. So feel free to share your questions. I just love you guys so much, and it's always wonderful and nice. So before we begin and give everybody a little bit of time to join us, I wanted to make sure that everybody knew about the RealityCon 3, the Large Sums of Money conference we have from November 18th through the 20th. I cannot wait for this amazing event. This event is going to be dedicated to the blueprint that we've created over time with the podcast to create and manifest large sums of money. We have some amazing speakers. If anybody's had an opportunity to join us for the RealityCon event, I highly recommend it. And we have so much fun. We meditate together. I answer your questions. I channel. And on I believe it's on Saturday night, we do a karaoke. Everybody sings along. It's one of the funnest things that I do, and I'm super excited to share it with you guys. So I wanted to just recommend, if for some reason the feed freezes or anything like that, just stick with me. One of the reasons I haven't really done a lot of YouTube lives because in the past it would freeze up. And so, hey, Rafa, Kevin, Aaron, Karma on deck, Natalia, MJ, Tanique, Christina, Miriam, I see you, Yogini, Eric's in the house, Mary's in the house, Alice, Heidi, Red Cupcakes, Dorian, Rena, AM. What's up, guys? All right. So to begin, before we go any further, if I miss any questions, please reach out to me on Facebook or in Messenger, or put it in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. So I wanted to start with AM Bond, who had asked a question in particular, how to deal with family who constantly project their shadow, covert, sixth density narcissism. And after sending energetic love, they seem to depolarize, but then gather up more energy to keep psychically attacking. My first thing to you, AM, is what do you mean by sixth density narcissism? Are you saying that your family is sixth density negative beings? Perhaps you're misunderstanding what sixth density is. Most sixth density beings are positively polarized, and you'll find some sixth density beings, but I would be very, very surprised if the beings that you're talking about or your family are in any way related to sixth density. What we learn in the law of one is beings reach sixth density that perhaps have been reincarnated for millions and millions of years, and they can't move any further unless they polarize positively. They reach a point where they cannot deny the unity of the universe. So perhaps part of this is an assumption that you have about what's going on. Now, I would recommend you check out my episode on how to deal with a narcissist. Narcissism is going to be something that we will all face as we move in to a new earth environment. Part of that is because you have two groups of entities that are polarizing in this new earth environment. Many are polarizing service to others, and you meet some amazing people, but you also have people that are polarizing service to self, and you're going to meet people along the way that are what you would appear as highly selfish and what can be classified as narcissistic. In most of those cases, I would recommend just leaving the situation. You're not going to be able to change them. Uh, Oftentimes, we're put into situations where we are encountering narcissists that we can't leave. They're a family member, they're somebody that we live with. So you can regularly see them from a loving standpoint. And if you bring them into a loving standpoint, your first instinct is going to be sort of anger, a conflictual feeling in your heart that you want to push them away. There's even in some levels, it's a hatred feeling. And this is triggering. It's a catalyst that you have to learn to deal with. You can love them from afar. And in my own experience, you won't be able to change a narcissist, but you can, and there are techniques that you can use to dealing with a narcissist. First of all, when you're encountering them, remember it's all about them. So you can say something nice to them, you can compliment them, you can build up their own personality, and you can slowly just walk away and back out of the situation. But I would recommend not projecting any of your understandings onto them. I would be very, very surprised if they were six density beings, and most likely they're just people on the spiritual path dealing with what's happening in the world. Don't attribute any extra powers to them, or don't overanalyze it. Just accept the moment and go with it. Give them love. Love always works. You are presenting them with the option of love. And the more you do that, you will see changes. Maybe for them down the road, you can be an example of why it's better to be in a loving environment. Don't create conflict over it. And they are mirrors to you. So learn more about yourself from how you feel about when you interact with them. But I highly recommend checking out my episode, How to Deal with a Narcissist, where I go into much further detail. Who else do we got? Ask Dr. Bonnie's in the house. Yo, what's up? Huh? Tanique. How's it going, John? All right. So Alexis asks, can astral projections or experiences out of the body be in any way dangerous? I would like to begin practicing them, but I am afraid of meeting low density beings or getting stuck or lost. You know, Alexis, I hear that a lot, and I don't know where that is coming from. There is a slight mention in reality transurfing that perhaps people have astrally projected and gotten lost, but I have never encountered it. You are safe when you're in these environments. Remember, especially coming from a third density perspective, when you leave your body, you are God incarnate. You have all the power. So any sort of danger happens from yourself. So if you go into this environment knowing you have all the power, then it's safe. Now, I get reports from people on a regular basis that go out of body, that experience astral projection, and they find themselves frozen in their body where they can't move. And that's coming from a misunderstanding. Oftentimes, when you are out of your body, you may be in an environment where you are still outside of your body and you can't move in your body, but that's only temporary. And you just reiterate that I am God. You reiterate the love that you have. You relax. In most cases, you can relax and let go. But I do not think that astral projection is dangerous. If you think it's dangerous, then you might attract entities that are going to take advantage of your fear. Fear is always attractive. So you want to maybe protect the environment that you're in, send love into the environment that you're in. You are all powerful, and especially in an astral environment. If you meet lower entities, send them love. If you fear them, laugh at them. You have all the power. If you're coming from a third density environment into the astral world, the only reason that there would be any danger is because of a lack of understanding of your own power. Once you are aware of your own, send out love, you instantly transform any negative entities. It's really hard to remember. You see a scary entity on for instance, in a horror movie, it would be funny if they just sent them love with your power and your heart. You can transform someone. You can transform them. And negative entities are afraid of people like you that have great power. So send them love. Know that you're safe. Don't attract any fear-based entities that want to take advantage of your fears, you can read up on it. There's some amazing books on out-of-body experiences. I personally have never met anybody that has had anything dangerous happen in an astrally projected environment. EA asks, and if I miss any questions, I'm gonna scroll back up. What's up, EA? It's always good to see you. What's up, Osman? EA, you said, have I had difficulty manifesting something? How did I overcome this? Of course, I've had difficulty manifesting. That's the purpose of this podcast, because everybody has difficulty in manifesting. We know the basic principles behind manifesting and reality creation, but oftentimes when we start to do it, we encounter difficulties. Part of that is a misunderstanding of the manifestation process. In my own experience, what I have found is you're manifesting all the time with every breath. So if you sit for a meditation for 20 minutes and really produce powerful feelings, it's going to be effective. But then as soon as you're done, you're having negative thoughts that are in the opposite. Remember, you're manifesting what you think about most of the time. So if you're encountering problems, usually you're realizing some level of subconscious resistance. The resistance that you have for manifesting in most cases is from those other thoughts, getting in touch with your subconscious mind, reprogramming your subconscious thoughts. If you are seemingly in a situation where you should be manifesting what you want and you're not, then you would most likely look within yourself and try to identify and recognize beliefs, situations, and thoughts that are sort of creating the opposite flow of what you want. So that would be the first step. Reprogram the subconscious mind. Your subconscious is also manifesting, and we are not aware of what we're thinking of when we dream, when we're in our subconscious thoughts. And so it was a hard thing for me to come to grips with, because I would assume I'm only creating from my conscious mind, but in reality, we're creating from our subconscious mind. And from our subconscious mind, we have beliefs that we've been given by our parents, by when we went to school, and formative experiences that are deeply built in over many, many years and a long period of time. So for some people, especially in this environment that we're in, where we're constantly being deluged with new information on a regular basis, you need to reprogram your subconscious. How do we reprogram our subconscious? Everybody's going to be a little bit different. My own case has been constantly using sleep affirmations, sleep meditations, regularly affirming on a regular basis, sort of just taking my subconscious and controlling it, beating it over the head, saying, no, you're not going to believe that, on a regular basis. And the more you do this, the more that you continually reprogram it. There's going to be a point where you feel like, I've already done this. How can my subconscious not know? It's because it is floating on imagine an ocean of information that you've had over your entire life, and you're on the very surface of it. So you have to continue to work on that. And then if you continue after using these particular techniques that I've talked about, and you continue to have resistance to the manifestation, go into meditation and start to ask questions. Start to ask yourself, why am I not manifesting this? You'll get into a place where you can communicate with your higher self and your subconscious mind. And when you do that, you're going to get additional information. Oftentimes, it will be things that you need to do, things that you have to encounter, things that you haven't dealt with. And everybody's situation is going to be different. And so if you continue to struggle with manifestation, EA, reach out to me and tell me more about your situation. Perhaps I can help. Hey, Steve, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that immensely. I'm definitely going to imagine that. Osmond, thank you so much. I see you winning the Powerball on Sutter. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So my question to you, Osmond, are you going to take, when it's that large of a lottery, are you going to take the 29 payments over 29 years? Are you going to take just $700 million? Or are you going to take the full 1.5 billion? Have you thought about what you want to do with it? I'm super fascinated by the relationship between lotteries and manifestation, because, of course, I've been taught by mentors and teachers to not really focus on the lottery, because you sort of limit your options and you think, well, that's the only way I can get that kind of money. So do it freely and joyfully. But I do see you winning the lottery. Hey, Ice Babe, good to see you. Maggie, what's up? Wanda, how's it going? Great to see you as always. Love you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining me on literally every chat. You guys are the best. I love you so much. James asks a question. Do you make vision boards or make a list of things you want or keep a journal for scripting? I make vision boards. I make videos that carry different things that I want that I have found to be more powerful. So vision videos. And I also try to integrate energies into my paintings and my environment. So yeah, vision boards really work. I put affirmations up on my desk. I have them all over my desk. I have vision boards. I also, on a regular basis, will create videos of houses that I want to live in or vacations that I want to go on, and I regularly watch them. The great thing that people don't realize with vision boards is when you put it up, if you make a vision board and put it in your closet, it's not going to work. But you put it up so it's always there. And you'll find that you see yourself looking up at it, and it works. It really works. And I do use journaling, like you mentioned. I think one of the most powerful techniques that we can use is writing down our goals, writing down our desires, and getting in touch with what it is that we want. When we journal and go back, we learn things. And what I've used journaling in particular about is like a writer. I will go in and from a first person perspective, like I'm writing a novel, I'll write out the thing that I want to create. I'll go into it as if it's happening to me now. I wake up on my yacht or whatever it is. So I'm speaking to a large group of people. I talk about how it feels in my stomach, the thoughts that are going on in my mind, what I'm feeling, how I've been doing that day. I try to create situations by journaling about them and what happens in my experience. When you journal about experiences that you might have, you'll find new things come up, new ideas that come up. And then when you spend time later trying to manifest things, you'll have these new elements that you can add in to your imagination that's powerful. I recommend everybody journal a little bit every single day. Write down the affirmations that are important to you. Write down the scenarios that you want to experience. Continue to write these things down. And as you write them down, you will learn more about what it is that you want. As I teach with the Aura program, is the biggest thing that people encounter is they don't really know what they want and they don't know what sort of potentials are available to them. So by writing them down and regularly going into your imagination in that particular way, you're going to have new situations come up and new ideas that help you to further enhance your manifestation power. Thank you, Tempe. I appreciate that so much. That means a lot. Thank you runs better than it did. I appreciate that. Thank you. It means a lot, everybody. Something wonderful is happening, Marjorie. Thank you, Jessica. Lilac, I would love to hear your story about journaling different stories of how you won the lottery. And please tell me if it works. One of my favorite things, and I think it's a great meditation technique, speaking of the lottery, if you're using the lottery and talking about the lottery, I have found just sitting around and daydreaming about the lottery, but don't make it just about winning the lottery, but what you would do if you won the lottery. Make that the focus. What are you going to do if you have 700 million? You're going to buy a house? You're going to buy your kids a house? Or are you going to put the money in a trust? How are you going to invest it? Where are you going to travel? Those are the things that are powerful. And then let go of the fact that you won the lottery and go into the wonderful ability to daydream about what the things that you want. And let me know how it works. Steve, brother, thank you so much. It means a lot. You say, I want my business and investments to be debt-free. I want to be loved and desired by gorgeous women, to be the best man I can be. I want to be a multimillionaire. Imagine that it's done, please. So right now I call upon everybody in the chat to imagine Steve being debt-free, super happy, coming into our chat saying, hey guys, remember when Brian had the live Q&A and he asked all of us to imagine and it worked. And I am now debt-free. I had a large sum of money come to me and I was able to pay off my debts. I have the most beautiful wife and I am super happy. I'm a multimillionaire. Everybody imagine Steve Dawson right now, just for a second. will be so excited to see in the comments at some point, Steve, where that is the case. I cannot wait. All right, let's see here. His treasure, Purple Diamonds, what's up? Always good to see you. LOA Sensei, you rock. You are awesome. Appreciate you. Ruth, Martine, it's always good to see you. Thank you for being there from the beginning, Martine. Jessica, love you, Jessica. Valeria, the Chloe is in the house. Yay, yay, yay. Robert, hey, Maura, what's going on? NX asks, I want to manifest a specific person, but I'm not sure if it's a good idea. And I also have a lot of limiting beliefs because he doesn't even live in my country. What do I suggest? No, this is interesting. It allows me to come back and talk about, I posted one of my paintings, and if anybody checks out my paintings at newearth.art, what I've done is create sigils where I use Grabavoy numbers and try to create an energy from the painting, very much like a vision board that broadcasts an energy of my intention. And I posted one the other day for a specific person. And a lot of people really, really didn't like that. They were saying it's a bad idea. You shouldn't manifest your specific person. Another said, oh, it's like giving a gun to a baby. You can't manifest a specific person, Brian. And if anybody goes back to the beginning of my channel, especially in reference to some reality transurfing stuff, I had the same thoughts. I changed my mind on this because everybody's going on their own journey. I will not judge you on what it is you're trying to manifest. I will only tell you that I've asked a number of people about manifesting specific people, and I have seen it successful. So the number one thing is it works. It can be done. You can manifest whatever it is that you want. So if you want to manifest a specific person, this is the thing I've learned from the people I've interviewed. If you go check out my interviews, Frederick Dotson is a good example. I asked him if I wanted to manifest Demi Moore, I wanted to manifest. I might be able to do that. I need to raise myself to be in the same vibration as Demi Moore and in the same lifestyle and environment. So I have to work on myself to bring myself to a level where I would be able to manifest that specific person. And what will happen in most cases for people that I've coached is they'll come to me. They'll come to you. But then what are you going to do once they show up? A lot of times the people that manifest a specific person, they are successful and they don't realize it. They get that date, they get that phone call, they get that text, but they're not ready to go beyond that. When you manifest a specific person, what is it you're manifesting? The relationship, a single experience? Be specific about what it is that you're manifesting. Don't worry about what country they're in. Don't worry about who they are. Don't judge yourself for it. But Joseph Murphy tells us that you should try to manifest the person that you want or someone better. And sometimes I've found in my own case, I have an amazing relationship with a beautiful wife, and I followed Joseph Murphy's guidance. I wanted to manifest a great relationship with someone or someone better. And I even stopped manifesting exactly what they looked like. I had a general idea of what it was like to be with them and how I enjoyed it. And I found that sometimes the universe knows better than I do. And I may think that person over there is great, but when you meet them, oh my God, they're not. You meet somebody and you put your eyes on them and you say, I want to manifest that specific person. But then you meet them and you spend all this energy to manifest them, and they are horrible. And so the worst is when you manifest a specific person, be careful of what you wish for. You just might get it. So you want to be in an amazing relationship, and part of your desire to manifest a specific person is to manifest that feeling, that thing that you want. And it might be with them, or it might be with somebody better. So I had a great conversation at the Bad Mystic Tour with somebody that came up to me and said, Brian, you've really been critical of people that manifest specific people. And that is not true. But I do see in particular people that come to me that are obsessed, absolutely obsessed with that one specific person. And it becomes a disadvantage to them. We learn from reality transurfing that when you add importance into your manifestation, you create an imbalance. This imbalance can actually push the person away. It is an art to manifest a specific person. You have to go into it with that loving feeling. You have to do it in the right way, and don't become obsessive with it. And oftentimes when people stop trying to manifest the specific person is when that specific person will come to them, if it is meant to be in the best possible situation. All right. Thank you so much, Maggie. You're the best. Love you so much. It was so awesome to meet you in New York. I can't tell you, Nancy and I have talked about you regularly and how much we enjoyed meeting you. So thank you so much for all you do. It means a lot. Let's see. Harm's Ethereal Wings. Hi, Brian. My house has been on the market for way too long. My tenant's energy, I think, might be stopping the sale. How can I get around this, please? It's a really good question. Often, and we can talk about this on another level. Sometimes it feels like that we have other people's energy that are influencing our own. And there are different people that argue different things about this. Neville would argue it's all within you, that nobody else affects you in any way. And I've discussed this with Mitch Horowitz and others that do say the energies of other people can affect what you're manifesting. I tend to think that there's a little bit of all of that involved. And I have been in situations where I've had roommates or friends or other business associates that I felt were also part of the manifestation process. They were blocking it or disrupting it in some way. So the first thing is that you can send them love, and you can continue to imagine, and in some cases make it your intention that that person just be outside of your life in some way if you really think that it is affecting you, or imagine them being in a different energy and focus on that. Imagine them using, an easy way to do that is imagine the person that's in the house saying, I'm going to move, I think, or acting in a different way energetically. But continue to imagine the end. The end is the key. Some people will say, I shouldn't have even mentioned that. That's part of the process. But I would say, continue to imagine the end. Imagine signing the final sales paperwork where it's been paid off. Imagine the title company calling you and you being excited. There's one of the easiest things to manifest is housing. As anybody that follows the Facebook group, I had my landlord recently say, yeah, we're thinking about selling the house. And I've owned other houses. This is one of those houses I rent for a variety of reasons, because in California, it's a great location. And I still love it. But then I started looking at other houses, and I had like 20 different opportunities. And it's so easy to manifest a house. You can go to sleep in that house. You can think about the sounds of that house. And so if you're selling a house, then you want to, if you're not actually living in the house and it's a rental property, it's a little bit different, but you can do some feeling oriented things. Make sure you're integrating feeling oriented things. The feeling of the sales paper, usually you're going to have a notary that comes and notarizes a document that you sign, and imagine that. Imagine a text that you receive that it's been sold. Continue to imagine it, and it will sell at the proper time. And let me know if that works. And we can continue to work on it. And I want everybody to imagine that she's able to sell her property, or that you are able to sell your property. All right. Let's see. Hey, Janabi. Hey, Miriam. John Phillip, how's it going? John Phillip asks, anything of worth in Scientology? I can only say that in my own experience, the one thing in Scientology which they took from other psychology courses and neurolinguistic programming is the idea that you are linked to past experiences and you can cleanse those. So if you were in a car accident and you were listening to a song, whenever you hear that song, it might bring up the feeling of that car accident. I personally have known people that have got sucked into it, and I know and am aware of people that use that have fallen trap to some of the techniques that Scientology uses, and they are unfairly manipulative and can work against you. But I will not judge anybody. If you have found something that works for you, I just say that you are the operant power. There is no group, there is no religion, there is no book that's going to tell you how it is. You are the one that's going to tell you how it is. And if Scientology takes you away from that, then perhaps it doesn't work. But I don't know enough about it, so I'm not going to talk about it any further. All right. What else do we got here? Questions. What do we got here? You manifested me, Osman. Yes, you did, brother. Hey, Maria. Thank you for that. Corey says, I want financial freedom to create a business that I can support and thrive with myself and my family to travel the world with ease. Join us for the Large Sums of Money conference. I want to go into greater detail. Financial freedom is important. There's so many different aspects on with money and manifestation. So we really want to talk about financial freedom and what that means and how to manifest it and what it means. And I have done some recent episodes that sort of focus on the idea of financial freedom. That's right, Osman, November 18th. Yes, congratulations on your home selling for more than you imagine. And Maggie is pointing out a great technique. It's the remember when technique, or saying a statement for something that hasn't happened yet. So we can say, I remember when your property sold, or congratulations on your property selling. The congratulations technique. Congratulating somebody for something that they want to manifest is a great technique. It works. It's easy. It's powerful. Olafonke, hey, what's up? You said, what does it mean when you look forward to going home? The thought of afterlife just excites me. It's a good question. Let's talk about it. You look forward to going home. My question to you is why? What is the reason that you look forward to it? Is it because of your life now? Are you using that as a form of escape? Or is there something else? Is it come from spiritual resonance with something in particular? When I hear somebody say that, I get it. Everybody has different reasons for it. I look forward to it, but I absolutely love this life. And I try not to worry about the afterlife. Although, as you can see from my episodes, I talk about the afterlife all the time. And as somebody that has had a near-death experience, I think about it all the time. And I have other videos that I will continue to talk about this. And I continue to talk about this. When you say you look forward to going home, that implies that you have some foreknowledge that you know for sure what the afterlife is like. And if you have it, please share it in the comments. I would love to know. That's what I like to hear, Osman. You do have a huge smile. Osman was so nice to take me to the hotel in New York. Olafunke, yeah, you know what? A lot of star seeds, a lot of people that I've met have that feeling they want to go home. That might be a sign that you came here for spiritual reasons, that you have a mission, but a lot of people come from a higher density loving environment and it feels like a prison here. And that's a common thing. People that have reincarnated from higher density situations, and it's a sacrifice. Perhaps you sacrificed being in an amazing paradise environment to come here. So if you have those feelings, then it may be a sign that you came here for a reason. It's going to be there. Don't worry. Time moves fast. We are living in eternity. You're only here for a short time. That might mean that you have some mission. So if you go home now, you might not have accomplished your mission. So I would ask, what is your mission? Start asking yourself, what is my mission? And it will help expedite the process. Hey, Fame with Tiffany Renee. Thank you for mentioning me. That's awesome. I can't wait to see your book. Make sure to send me the link so I can check it out. Maura says, when using quantum jumping, are there any limitations that we need to keep in mind? I've been using your techniques with positive results and find myself doing it daily. Is that okay? Absolutely, you can do the quantum jumping techniques daily. And there are no limitations. The only limitations that I have found is when people want to travel into the past. You're in this present moment when you quantum jump. You might quantum jump into a timeline that is seemingly like the past, but just stay in the moment. Understand you're jumping into a timeline in which the things that you want. You may still have to experience a bridge of incidents, but regularly doing quantum jumps on a regular basis is great. And I don't think there's any limitations for it. Keep going. You'll get better and better and better at it. The other little secret that I would love to mention, I've mentioned it before, is the more you do it, if you're somebody that's doing quantum jumps every day, then you're going to have some crazy things show up or happen. You're going to have some experiences that don't make sense. You're going to find yourself seeing things that weren't there before, and don't make a big deal about it. There's a protective part of you, the higher self, that's sort of there protecting you. And when people at quantum jump into an environment that freaks them out, that scares them, the higher self will bring you right back to your old environment. So be open and embrace change. That's the thing that I would recommend. Embrace change. You're quantum jumping, and usually you're wanting to change your situation. But when you see something crazy happen, a new person is in your life, a building disappears, objects disappear, things that make you think like you're insane, embrace the change, and you'll keep on going. And also get into a conversation with your higher self when you quantum jump. Talk to your higher self. Give your higher self, say, I give you permission to allow me to quantum jump into this environment. Oftentimes when people are struggling with quantum jumps, I find that it's because their higher self is protecting them. And so get into a conversation with your higher self and be open to major changes. All right, what do we got? Perception is everything. Where did I lose you? We're going to find you back. Perception is everything. Could you talk about releasing emotions and trauma that may be blocking or manifestations, and how to do that in a nutshell? What is the easiest way to go about it? And this relates to an earlier question. If you've already asked a question and I'm getting lost in the chat, re-ask it again. But somebody asked about EFT. So there's a number of different ways that you can release trauma. It's important not to ignore it. When you have trauma that's happened in your past, you've created a number of mechanisms to deal with that trauma. And oftentimes it is ignoring it, but it doesn't go away. So like Paul Selig says, if you have the dead body in the basement, it's going to start to smell. You have to deal with the trauma. You have to encounter it. You have to come into an encounter with it. And then oftentimes in doing that, you can let it go. And I personally have found success with emotional freedom techniques and EFT and tapping techniques, by thinking about the thing that I'm experiencing and then affirming that it's gone. By using tapping, I have found that really works. And I don't want to go into a whole episode now. I'll try to do maybe an episode about tapping techniques, but Dawson Church is one of my favorite teachers of that, and I would recommend doing that. There's a number of great teachers that have talked about and helped with dealing with trauma. My only thing is, once you've released it and let it go, then let it go. Some people get into a program where they deal with their trauma and they obsess over the trauma, and then it becomes creative. The argument is that you're trying to let the trauma go. You're trying to break a pattern that the trauma created. Oftentimes you can do this through meditation and through, reprogramming your subconscious mind. But some people, it becomes like an addiction. They want to stay in their trauma. They don't want to reach a point where the trauma is not affecting them anymore. The trauma is an experience that you had in the past that is affecting the way that you relate with others and the way you interact with others and the way that you create in the world. So if you want to manifest the life that you want to make sure that trauma is not a habitual response within your emotional system. You got to let it go. How do you let it go? In most cases, you can let it go by bringing it up, acknowledging it, sending it love, understanding what happens, and forgiving the people that were involved. You can also use revision. Revision works very, very powerfully. You can revise the incident and imagine that the trauma didn't happen. Some people are very good at this. Go back and imagine the incident where the trauma didn't happen. Somebody beat you when you were a child. Go back and imagine that person is hugging you. That might be hard for you to do. Some people are not able to do that. So everybody's going to be a little bit different. There are other techniques, and there really is about 100 techniques to release trauma. Kyle Cease does a good job of talking about releasing trauma, and Teal Swan has some. Some people have really liked her techniques, and so your higher self will guide you to find the programs and techniques that will work in releasing your trauma. And if you continue to struggle with the trauma, come in here and ask comments on my Facebook group. Other people will help you. We are a community. It's not just about me. And there's some amazing teachers in this and other communities that can give you advice specific to your situation. Ang asks me a great question. Hey, Brian, how do you know you didn't die in your break-in? Might you already be in the new world? Ang, it's a question I ask myself every day. I probably did die. I'm experiencing a reality in which I didn't. And as Neville Goddard says, no one is dead, right? So we don't really ever die. So it's possible that if I had the break-in, and if people don't know what Ang is talking about, in my book and in other episodes, I had an experience where I had some thieves enter my house and shoot at me, and when they broke into my house, and I had a bullet bounce off my back as I was running. So I've struggled with it. Was so miraculous the way that I was able to survive this situation that I started to really question whether or not I had died in that moment. And I can't answer whether or not I am dead or not. All I know is that I am conscious of being alive, and I will continue to act as if I am. And that's all I can do. How can we ever know? Ask Dr. Bunny, do we go to your website or YouTube channel to sign up for the Large Sums of Money conference? Go to the description in this video and the last 20, 30 videos I have. After there's a link for where you can purchase the tickets for the Large Sum. I believe it's realityrevolutioncon.com/tickets. Let's see what else we got here. Hey, TV on us. Hey, let's see. Sarah, hey, what's going on? Layla asks about the fear of losing your mind and feeling depersonalized sometimes. Please talk about it. Any kind of fear that you have, and that's a real fear. That's a fear that I have experienced. So let me talk about that. I've had some crazy events happen and have feared that I'm losing my mind. But fear is creative, and I've tried to deal with fear by bringing love into the moment, by revising the experience, by using certain affirmations. I'm a big fan of Joseph Murphy, and I've tried to affirm that I'm in harmony with the Creator, that my life is in harmony, that all things happen for a reason, that, and I've continually to affirm that my mind is clear, that I see clearly, that my mind is working, and I continue to affirm it. So if I'm losing my mind, I try to affirm myself in a situation where I've come back to that level of harmony. Now, feeling just depersonalized, I get that. We live in a social media world, and we're interacting with billions of people, and we can feel depersonalized. You are a unique and powerful and wonderful individual, and that feeling is just a reaction to the environment that you're in. But if you go and meditate and realize your own light, you're going to realize that you're going to forget about that depersonalization. Something I could probably talk about and address in another episode. All right, what do we got? Aparajita Banerjee. I was a victim of black magic in Kolkata, India 30 years ago, and it's still affecting my relationship with my children and husband. I chant a mantra, which helps, but I sometimes despair. Aparajita. First of all, the first thing is magic can only affect you if you allow it. When Joseph Murphy talked about this, Thomas Troward talks about in his book, what would you do? He was actually in India. What would you do if 100 black magicians all sent their worst magic to you? And his answer was, I would just say cockle-doodle-doo. You give the magic its power. That's the first most important thing. You can undermine the power of any black magic by undermining your belief in it. You are the operant power, and you have the power to change anything. Now, sometimes it becomes a little more complicated than that. But I do recommend for something, a process that you can go about that helps you to affirm your power that has been effective is the banishing ritual. And I recently had a very good friend, somebody I've interviewed on the channel. I won't give his name, but he had a similar situation and felt like he was being attacked and it was affecting his kids. And we recommended the banishing ritual. The banishing ritual is a ritual that you can use that has been taught for thousands of years, in which you're calling upon angels in a protected environment. It cleanses the room. It's something that they used in the Law of One. And in the episode, I talk about the differences in it. But if it's something that you're regularly doing, it's a way of cleansing the energies in your house. You can also use cut garlic, they talk about in the Law of One. You can go around your house and clap. Not Don't wash your hands or touch anything and then wash your hands off. Sometimes that works. There are, you can use salt. And the more and more you read about these cleansing techniques, there's reasons they work. There's reasons that they are powerful, and you can try those on a regular basis. What your question implies is that you despair. And so I would tell you that the part of the reason that this is affecting you is you. You have a fear about it. You continue to think about it. You continue to think that it's affected you. And I want you to know it's not. I'm sending you light now, and I'm going to make sure when I'm done with this episode, I'm going to send you light. I want you to know you're totally safe. It's been 30 years. It's done. Anything that's happening is all from you at this point. So assume that it's over with, that you're protected, that it's done. I promise. Let's see. Fame with Tiffany Renee says, do you think it's easier to surrender, connect to higher self after a near-death experience? I found people who have had these intense experiences seem to have more powerful connections. I want that feeling. I think that the first thing is that you're always connected to your higher self. Understand what the higher self is. The higher self is you. Billions of years in the future, who has experienced, and there's, as I just read in another episode of the Law of One, there's like two versions of the law of the higher self. There's a higher self, and as I talk about in my episode in the quantum higher self, there's a higher self that's dedicated to your particular linear timeline that you're in now, that has experienced everything. And then in seventh density, there's a version of the higher self that has experienced all the realities, and they are all you. And so you right now are your higher self. There's a version of you that exists in another density that has experienced everything, has gone back in time, and is there to help you. So you experience your higher self all the time. Check out my higher self meditations. I do not think you have to have an intense experience to interact with the higher self. You can interact with the higher self right now just by closing your eyes and asking the higher self to interact with you. The higher self will not overtly intervene in your life without giving, you got to give the higher self permission to come into your life, that you're not violating your free will. Continue to communicate with your higher self. Make it your intention to communicate with your higher self. Sometimes people's higher self will communicate with synchronicities that you have in your life, also with words that you hear. Everybody's a little bit different, but I do not think that it's requirement of having an intense experience. I do believe that we're all interacting with it. And in meditation, make it a regular part of your meditation, that you're bringing your higher self in. And the more and more you do this, the more and more you'll feel like there is this part of you, because the higher self is you, is not separate from you. And so you want to make sure that you're continuing to affirm that, and you'll continue to have an experience. And eventually, if you make it your intention, you want to have that intense experience with the higher self, it will happen if you continue to give yourself the chances to do that. A lot of times when I have somebody that says, hey, I'm struggling, I'm connecting to my higher self, and then I'll ask, how often are you meditating? How often are you going into the silence? Not very often. So give your higher self the opportunity to interact with you by going into the silence, or giving a space where you can interact in a meditative, silent environment where the higher self can interact with you. Brian. Dorian asks, Brian, do you use your I am presence? Do you do work with the violet flame? Removing the discord of the past and present, removing all karma. Saint Germain talks about using the violet flame and the I am presence. And as soon as I read all the stuff by Saint Germain, I've always integrated my I am presence and using the violet flame. It works. It's wonderful. It's powerful. I absolutely use it. I do recommend it. As I understand karma, the karma is already gone, but any karma I've brought into my life, it does remove your karma, and I love that stuff. Absolutely. Anima Emmy asks, How? Oh, did I lose you? Or where are you at? Oh no. I'll have to come back and see if I can find it in a second. Um, I'm so sorry, Tina. I saw you got the. It's good to see you here, Tina. I'm so glad you're back home. I'm so sorry about getting the COVID. I see you healthy and posting soon, and it's all well. Thank you so much, TV Honest. Thank you so much. I'm just honored. I really, really appreciate your amazing compliments. I love you too, Tina. Let's see what else we got. Dorian. Okay. So many people are chatting. I'm losing some people. Hey, Gil. Love you, Gil. Love to see. Thank you so much for commenting on my videos and being a part of the reality revolution. Always love you. Let's see here. Is it all written? Matthew asks, is it all written in the stars? Sure, it's all written in the stars. What exactly are we talking about as being all written in the stars is the question. All of it's existing within and without. Dorian asks, why do the Ascended Masters not like garlic or onions and won't come around once you eat them? Dorian, I think that it's a good question. I think it's hilarious because the raw material, the law of one material, is it has all this amazingly doctorate level metaphysics, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, and you can cut some garlic. I don't think it's an Ascended Masters thing. I haven't heard of other Ascended Masters talking about cut garlic, but I've never understood that. I just get the only thing they asked in the law of one is that cut garlic, that negative entities don't like to be in an environment where there's cut garlic, and I wish I could give you a reason for that. Leanne asks, Thought says he should calm down, stop screaming. He needs to not be so angry about this situation. Can I really know that this is true, that he needs to change his attitude? I don't, maybe I missed it, the previous text, what you were referring to. Let's see. KC, you say you used to be a master manifester. These days it seems hard. What could be wrong? KC, affirm that you're a master manifester. Don't get into a situation where you have any kind of belief that you're not. I don't want you to believe that. I want you to believe that you're a master manifester. 40% of manifesting is believing that you're a manifester. And if you start to inculcate beliefs in yourself that you're not doing very good, or you're not an effective manifester, that will affect your manifestation. All right. Steve, did you am I missing where the super chats are? Did I miss one? I'm sorry, brother. If I'm missing one. All right, let's see. Wani asks, how do you know if you're not manifesting something because it's not meant for you as part of your journey, as opposed to it not manifesting because of resistance? Juan, this is a great question. I really would like to also get other people's idea about this, because there is this aspect of manifestation that, we have a pre-incarnative plan that we're a part of, and that plan it puts us on a certain journey, and then for some reason we can't manifest something because we're not intended to. Part of me says I get what you're saying. I get that, and then part of me says that's simply not true. That we are here now and we can choose whatever we want and we can create whatever we want. I've had situations where I felt like my higher self said, you can do that, but that's really not going to be for you. For instance, I've had tried to think about winning the lottery, and I've had my higher self say, if you win the lottery, you're going to not be able to follow the journey that you're on. You will not have a desire to start your YouTube channel. You would not have a desire to write any books. You'd be doing something else, and you would not have the potential or opportunities for service. So, I think that it's a personal thing. Ask your higher self. Law of one in the Quo material, they even imply that sometimes. There are things that we think that we want. There are amazing experiences that we think that we can have, but it would be to our detriment. We could have that amazing mansion. We would live out in the middle of nowhere, and we would not get a chance to be of service to people, right? So it's a great question, and I do think that there are situations where I do believe we can manifest any reality that we want. I absolutely believe that 100%. And I do believe sometimes we manifest what we want and it's not for our better good. So I try to manifest what I want for my better good. But there are situations where later on, when something should have manifested, I know for sure that I had the proper feeling, and later on, I felt like I feel like that I'm glad that I didn't. So I would love to get your impressions and everybody's impression on this. I do think there are times that we don't manifest the thing we want because we've created pre-incarnative instructions to ourselves so that we don't have things that dissuade us because we have a certain journey that we're on. That's my instinct. I can't tell you for sure, but that's what I think. Let's see here. Let's see here. Wani asks, how do you know if you're not okay. What am I missing here? Ladina, it's like, hey, Ladina, what's going on? It's like shopping. You put stuff in your cart that you think you want, but if you really look at everything and ask yourself if you really want, you put it back. That's true. And okay, you're right. Your higher self does know what you want. And you both strongly agree on winning the lottery. I love that. Dorian asked me if I can see my electronic circle. I don't know what you mean by electronic circle. Perhaps if you could explain, maybe I could ask. I've not seen an electronic circle, at least with my own spiritual eye. Let's see. What am I missing? Steve, write down in the comments if I missed a comment. Maybe I can answer. Just put it. I'll keep an eye out. Type it out again. Yeah, brother. Type it out again. Jonathan, congratulations on your new job. Colleen, I've had that thought. I would love to make a book with our chats. I think that would be a fantastic idea. Colleen says we should create a book with our chats. Let's see. I had a question since people aren't asking a lot of questions. Let's see. I had some questions that were asked in the Facebook group. Maybe I missed it. I'm not seeing a lot of new questions, so if you have some, go ahead and ask. Maybe my computer is frozen up. How can I manifest a happy, stable marriage? Peace lover. Peace lover, the thing that I would say is that you need to define what a happy and stable marriage is. I see the key word there is stable. So to me, my instinct is the word stable is added in because perhaps you feel like you're in an unstable marriage. You can manifest a happy, stable marriage by, first of all, becoming happy and stable within yourself, imagining a situation that is a happy, stable marriage, but also trying to be happy and stable, especially, in relationships. If you try to be the thing that you're trying to manifest, I think you have greater success. Try to be happy and stable. Try to imagine a situation where the marriage is stable. Continue to define what that means, and then you will have success. It's ongoing. It's kind of specific to your situation. Someone asked how to remote view. Check out my meditation on remote viewing. The best technique for remote viewing is to get yourself in a super relaxed state, particularly alternate nostril breathing to bring in prana, to have a journal in front of you. And it can be effective if somebody gives you a random number that's related to a place so that you don't bring your own impressions to it. But if you're looking to remote view a particular place, just have a journal out. And when you go into the silence after you've created prana in a relaxed state, just start writing down all the impressions. The Farsight Institute is the best institute that teaches remote viewing. My meditation on that is designed so that I put you into that state, and then I give you like an hour of music, and you can try that. Sandy says, I sometimes get the feeling my higher self is laughing at me like you would a taller. Do you ever feel that way? I have felt that way before. I have felt that way, but it was in a loving way. It wasn't like mocking love. Hi says, how can I send you a written letter through USPS? Do I have a post office box? Just reach out to me if you're on Facebook. Email me at chiefexecutiveprime@gmail.com, and I'll see what I can do. Yes, Colina, I'm going to do my best to go back and read the chat. If there's any questions, if you've asked a question that you really want answered, I'm scrolling down to the most recent ones. I'm going to scroll back. Steve says, do I need to affirm and visualize? Can you tell me how much to affirm and how long to affirm and imagine? Tell me what to do to imagine and manifest successfully. I've been reading Neville. Steve, it's a question that Neville was given a lot. Yes, I believe that you need to visualize. Some people are not very good at visualizing. So visualize can mean more than just what you see in your mind. You can bring up feelings if you can create the feeling. For some people, affirmations are not effective. In my own case, affirmations are effective because I'm creating thoughts with them, and I try to tie my affirmations to feelings. I don't just say them without feeling. I don't make empty affirmations. So I do think that you need to affirm and imagine. Instead of using the word visualize, we can say imagine. So put yourself in an environment in the present moment where you're imagining that you're experiencing what you want. And you should continue to imagine and affirm until you feel a sort of click. There's a knowing that you have. I've talked about that in my episode on stepping into the gap, I believe. And there's a sort of feeling that you have where you know it's working. Don't give up. Sometimes you have to affirm and imagine and visualize for years. Unfortunately, you do. Don't give up. Don't feel like it's not working. Continue to do it until it works. If you do it enough, there'll be a point where you know it's going to happen. And if you don't have that feeling, then just keep doing it. It's okay to be relentless and persevere and keep on imagining. It's not that hard. Keep on affirming and imagining until you have that thing happen. Now, Neville Goddard would say that everything that you imagine has its own place in time. So it might be 3 months, might be 9 months, it might be 4 years. I've had things that I worked on affirming and imagining that took 10 years for me. And I'm glad that I waited, and they all happen at the perfect time. Affirm that they're going to happen at the perfect time, but don't give up. Rafa asked, I'm intending to manifest a job in a new field and have been sending CVS, but no reply. Can you help me out? First of all, Rafa's got a great podcast. Be sure to check it out. So you are intending to manifest a job. You've been sending the CVS with no reply. So getting a job is something I'd love to talk about because it's interesting. Most of the time, especially when it's a job that you really want, I do think that understanding balance and importance is really, really critical because at least in my own experience, I would have a job that I want really bad. And I always blew it because I would just think about it all the time. I'd be checking my email. I'd be thinking about it and I'm obsessing about it. So you got to find a way to reduce or minimize the importance of the thing that you want. And that's hard because it's a survival oriented situation. It's something that you need an immediate response about. So you can imagine receiving the email that you want, imagine hearing the voice on the phone if that's what it takes. Maybe they'll leave a voicemail for you, and continue to imagine it in a free, sort of loving, relaxed state of mind so that you're happy that it happened. But you've got to avoid that tense anxiousness that comes up before, and oftentimes that emotion is so powerful that it pushes everything away. The more intense the emotion, the more creative in all things that we manifest. So if you are super anxious about it, super thinking about it all the time, the key element here is to imagine in a loving, happy state, to create that feeling, and then to let it go a little bit, to reduce the importance. Look at other job opportunities. Sometimes looking at other job opportunities will help you to reduce the importance and affirm that the best job is going to happen for you at the right time. Just like our discussion of the specific person, it can be done. Just like with the specific person, you have to reduce the importance of what it is that the job that you're trying to get into. What do we got here? You're quite welcome, Shannon. Ross, great question. Why do people give their power to another and invite them into their own heads at mercy by means ban one or remain true or affiliate? Why do people give their power to another? Remember, you see what you look for. So my first thing, are you looking for people that are giving their power to another? People have always given their power to another. It's just something that's always happened. And they always do it for their own individual reasons. Most cases, it's the ego that is a part of it. And don't let it affect you. Send them love and let it go. What their journey is their own. And we all see people all the time being manipulated and giving their power all the time. And I can only say an amazing affirmation Matt Kahn gave me. When you see stuff that bothers you in the world, when you see stuff that's you're struggling with that you don't like to see in the world, say thank you for reminding me of what my light is transforming. Because usually by the time you see somebody who's given their power away, it's already happened. So thank you for reminding me of what my light is transforming. Let's see, what else do we got here? Bjorn, if I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize. You said I lost the ability to dream. I'm not dreaming anymore. I've been getting a lot of emails and comments from people that have been experiencing something similar. I would ask, are you on any medications? Do you smoke? Is there anything that might be affecting your dreaming? Do you perhaps take melatonin? I would also tell you that it's likely that you are dreaming, that you're simply not remembering it. You're coming out of your sleep state in a place where you're just not remembering your dreams. And I would say that you are dreaming. Just make it your intention when you go to sleep to remember your dreams, because everybody dreams, just like JSI says. Benita, I love that. Say to yourself right now, right here, right now, I'm okay if you're experiencing anxiety. I love that. Leanne says you're being targeted with energy weapons that hurt. How do you know this? When did it start happening? I'd love to know more. I have not heard of anybody being targeted with energy weapons, except perhaps, in the news, like the, people at the Cuban embassy were being targeted with sound weapons, but I'm not quite sure what you mean. And perhaps you're not. Let's see what else we got. How to find meaning in your life, how to know what you truly desire. Alexis, I think this is a great question. I think it's the most important question. A lot of times people are empty. They haven't found their purpose. Check out my episode on how to find your purpose. The best thing and the most magical thing in the world is when you do find your meaning in your life. And so I would ask you to go back and look at your childhood. What is it that really interested you? There's some formative events that happen in your childhood that tell you a lot about what you're experiencing and what's going on in your life. And a lot of times those are informative of what your life means and what your purpose is. But for a lot of people, it takes time. You can ask yourself questions before you go to sleep. You can ask yourself questions before you meditate, and you'll start to get answers from your higher self, from synchronicitous events that occur in your life, from events that happen in your life. And I recommend everybody continually ask those questions. What is the meaning of my life? What's my purpose? Because when you do find your purpose, everything changes. You don't have to have one thing. Sometimes it can be a lot of things. But I would ask you to go within self, and the purpose or a meaning of your life oftentimes is defined by what it is you want and what you want to do for others. And so ask yourself with the filter of that question, is this related to me, something I want, or is it something I can do? And then continually asking those questions, you will find the answers. Steve, I'm addicted to humiliation porn. It kills confidence and honor, self-esteem. Does this block my wealth, success, love, and security from manifesting? Steve, I'm going to tell you that all are one. So if you enjoy other people being humiliated, you enjoy being humiliated. So I do think that if you are especially if it's related to porn, that's a highly powerful feeling, emotional oriented state. And I do think, ask yourself the questions of why that is, why that gives you happiness, why that you would want that. Would you want to be humiliated? If it's something that you would not want to experience, then I would recommend, if you can find a way, if you want to experience wealth, success, love, and security in your life, that you want to look at things that you want to experience, remembering that all are one. All right, what did I miss? Tina says, sometimes your guides are working on you while you're sleeping, kind of like psychic surgery. It's so true. I do agree, especially for people that aren't dreaming. It means that they're not supposed to remember the dream, and there's stuff that's going on. And yeah, Leah, take a salt bath with crystals. For sure, that's a great idea to protect yourself from energy. Also, Leah, I would recommend doing if it's energy that's metaphysical energy that you're being attacked with, do the banishing ritual, do some of the things we talked about earlier in this episode, and put yourself in a loving environment. There is nothing that can stop love. And so when you're in a powerful, loving situation in which you're projecting love into your environment, no energy can cross that. You create a protective environment with the light and energy and love that you have in your environment. Okay, Kraz, you need help on what, please? Did I miss another comment? I'm getting so many comments. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Tina, for some people, melatonin can give you restless leg syndrome, but we all have melatonin flowing in us already. But I get that. It's not for everybody. Be careful. If you don't like it, then don't. You're quite welcome, Gil. Thank you. Dorian asks, how do I produce more liquid light in the nervous system? I can't honestly tell you. Um, to me, all light is the same. I don't consider a difference between light and liquid light, and that I bring light into my experience through my imagination and through the energy work that I do through breathing. And so I would, do it through regular meditation and energy techniques through visualization is the best way to bring light into your environment. Now, Neville Goddard refers to liquid light. And if that's the case, maybe I haven't properly experienced liquid light, and perhaps you could teach me more about liquid light. Maria asks, are past life regressions helpful for awakening? This is a question I have asked. I do think that there are times in my own particular case, as my higher self has guided me, that my past life regression is not helpful. I do think that for some people it is helpful. I do believe part of our subconscious in some cases is either a past life or past simulation or experience that we've had. We've talked about on the channel that we can live our life over and over again, but whatever it is, something in our past spiritual experience may be helpful in our awakening. But in most cases, I would say that you can stay in this moment. Imagine that whatever happened in the past You've learned the lessons that you need, sending love to it. But everybody's different. Some people really, really do need those past life experiences. According to Quo, it can be helpful. So I do believe that it can be helpful, but on a case-by-case basis. Swiftwalker, it's true. Getting in tune with circadian rhythm can be an effective alignment tool, especially if you're getting proper amounts of sleep in that particular case. Olafunke asks, how can you maintain your spiritual awakening? It's a great question. There are people that awaken and clearly they're not in that continual awakening state. And so I wonder about that, and so I do believe that the state that we're in now is constantly changing, and you can have awoken and then kind of move out of an awakening state. I say continually thinking in a loving manner, for me personally, by continuing to be of service, to think outside of myself, to let my ego go, and to meditate and resonate in an environment of loving things. That has helped me to continue in my awakening state. Let's see. Alexis, do I believe in conspiracy theories like evil elites and sacrifice rituals? Alexis, there is no fiction. All things are happening in the world. So what I would tell you is that don't focus on the conspiracy. In a lot of cases, 99%, the conspiracy theory that's being brought up into your consciousness has the intention of derailing your awakening and reducing your consciousness in a way that depolarizes you. And a lot of the conspiracy theories are manipulative. They're very manipulative in enhancing the ego and separating groups. If you believe that evil elites are out there, of course they are, but they are you. And if you continue to believe in evil elites and you say that that group over there supports the elites, you're separating yourself. You're creating a greater level of conflict and you're destroying the unity of this planet. Yes, all things are true. I don't doubt all of it is true, but a focus on it. And in many cases, the conspiracy theories I find today are all related to politics that are being used for political purposes to, in many cases, take this particular political candidate or the other and make them out to be monsters or whatever for particular manipulative reasons. Remember, all are one. Even your greatest enemy is one. Even the people that are in charge of the conspiracy. You have the power to change the world, and you can see these things happening. Send them love. They're all shadows that are a part of you. And don't be obsessed with conspiracies. As Quo says, as they say in the law of one material, it's a lower vibration. If you continue to focus on the conspiracy theory, you'll be taken away from the unity. It's not a fourth density thing. Fourth density moves beyond those conspiracies. The world's messed up. All kinds of terrible things are happening. Why are we going to focus on that and make that a part of our spirituality? The worst are the conspiritualists, the really super spiritual people that all they talk about are conspiracy theories. And what is the result of that? What does it do? What does it lead you to? Does it awaken you in any way? What does it really do? What are you going to do? Are you just going to sit and worry about it? In many cases, it creates fear, and that fear can pull you away from a loving, powerful, beautiful new earth environment. All right. Yes, mostly psyops. All right. Human splaining, regardless of the reasons, are the claims about said individuals true or not? Many of the cases, they're not true. Many of the cases there are. Who cares? What does it have to do? You want me to tell you if some celebrity did something terrible, some secret forum that you read on Reddit? What if it's true? What does it matter? Is it going to affect you in any way? It's not going to affect you. You're getting pulled into pendulums. Go and watch my episodes on pendulums. Pendulums take your energy away. It takes away your ability to manifest. It derails your ability to properly imagine. It leads you into a fear-based state, and it does not matter. Forget about it. Who cares about what some celebrity or individual has done? It does not matter. It's only intended to take you away from your true awakening and who you truly are. I send them love. If they're doing that, I send them love and I see them healed. Thank you, Chloe. Appreciate that. All right. We're not cosmic cops. No. Pollyanna, when I do an 8-hour sleep meditation, I wake up tired as if someone has been beating me with a stick all night. So this is a good point, Pollyanna. Everybody is not different for the sleep meditations. Some people, it works great. Some people cannot sleep with the sleep meditations. What I would recommend for you, and I do, if you notice, a lot of my meditations are created as both waking and sleep meditations, particularly affirmation ones. I try not to put an if you're not on YouTube Premium, there's no advertisement at the end. So sometimes, if that's how you feel, then it's probably not for you, or the listening arrangement is not for you. Some people simply can't sleep, like my wife. She can't sleep with any sounds but white noise. So what I would recommend is a short 30-minute pre-sleep meditation that you fall asleep into the state that you want, and then you go to sleep without it. So if you're struggling with the long-term sleep meditation, I recommend a short 30-minute sleep meditation as you go to sleep, and then that works fine. Or you can set a timer on the sleep meditation so it turns off after an hour. So I recommend everybody treat the sleep meditation differently. And for many, it's better to go to do an hour long. And for some people, it works great to have the full 8 hours. So I've tried to create different kinds so that one of them works for you. If you feel like that, don't do it anymore. Do something prior to sleep. Benita, absolutely, it's important to focus on the now. All right. Fame with Tiffany says, do you think if we cannot have a successful past life regression, it is our higher self telling us we don't need to know? I've tried but did not work. I think it would benefit me. In some cases, of course, everybody's situation is different, Tiffany, but I believe that is true, that in those cases, if you're not having that experience, it's not important. You don't need to know. Sometimes it's a blessing that we don't remember our past life experiences. Think about what we have in our own past, in our own life now, and how much that affects us, and how much the traumas that we had. Imagine experiencing millions of years of traumas. Why would we want that? Perhaps the reason that we forget our past lives, it's a blessing. So if there is something in your past life that you need to address, then you'll know. And I do believe that if you're not finding out, don't worry about it. All right. I've seen your I'm gonna imagine for you, Steve. I see your super chat, and I'm gonna imagine for yourself not being humiliated. It's a habit, and I'm gonna imagine that it's all good for you for sure, 100%. All right. All right, where are we at? Jane, we do have to get rid of our trauma and shadows, but we do not need to obsess on them. And just remember, as I've said in other episodes, that the trauma and the shadows is coming from a smaller part of who we are, and we don't need to obsess on them. Some people actually don't have significant shadows or trauma. Not everybody is struggling with shadows or trauma. And sometimes in some spiritual communities, there's such an obsession with that it becomes creative, because our thoughts create reality. So if we're always talking about our traumas and our shadow, then we start to create and manifest more traumas and shadows, because we're saying that it's important. So it's important, but we don't need to do it all the time. Purple Diamonds. When I do quantum jumps, how do I merge with my twin and stay in that state? So when you do in particular, the quantum jumps where I have you meet your quantum twin, those are sometimes very powerful. It's a technique that I learned from Burt Goldman. And I say, when you go in to those meditations and you remember it, give yourself an anchor. Give yourself an anchor when you merge with your twin, so that you can have it to remember Sometimes you could pinch your hand or scratch your arm. And then every time you do that, you can bring up the somatic experience in your body of that quantum jump experience. And that's a way to merge with it and regularly remind yourself, give yourself other things that you do on a regular basis. Walking under a door. Every time you walk under a door, you remind yourself that you're merged with your twin, or other things that you regularly do when you drink water. If you do that and anchor yourself and continually remind yourself, it should work. Thank you, Justin, brother. Appreciate that. Yes, Justin, I am a simple figment of your imagination. We are all figments of our own imagination. We are all one. So I personally feel conscious. So I can only tell you, if I am a figment of your imagination, you have a pretty freaking amazing imagination to have imagined me in this conscious state. And all I can say is, thank you, bro, for imagining me. Dan says, I'm having trouble going into the silence. How do you recommend quieting the chattering monkeys in my head? Dan, it's a common problem and everybody experiences it and everybody has different techniques. The first thing that helped me is to continually, once the chattering starts, is to, first of all, just focus on the breath. Secondly, if that doesn't work, start to treat the chattering as if it's separate from you, like a radio that you hear next door. If you ever have a radio that's blaring in the background, sort of treat it like it's there, but it's in the background. And so sometimes when you have the thoughts that come up, you can imagine them going up like bubbles and popping. And so as you continue to do this, which is very, very common, you will start to have your monkey mind calm down. For some people, a mantra is effective. Repeating a mantra over and over, or an affirmation. So it's totally normal and it's a good sign that you're meditating. And if you are experiencing the monkey mind, you're alive and it's part of this conscious process. Don't denigrate yourself. It's normal and it's okay. And don't grade yourself like, I didn't do a good job on my meditation. If you meditate and anything happens, it's good. You succeeded. You're awesome. Sir Charles, do pastors, prophets, apostles, or anybody have the power to tell what's going on in any person's life? Sometimes. I think sometimes it's creative. Sometimes they have a heightened availability and knowledge of what's going on. Oftentimes it's complete bullshit. And so if somebody's told you about something that's going on in your future life, ignore it. Even if they're correct. A lot of times, if somebody is psychic and they come to me and they say, Brian, that you need to be warned about this, I don't want to hear that, because it's very possible that they've lived this life many times and they know what's going to happen to me. And I'm in a state where I want to be free to recreate my reality. So I don't listen to psychics or look at charts that tell me about something that's going to happen in my life, because it may be true, but I'm in a situation where I want to be able to change my reality. And so if my current reality is written into the stars, I'm changing the stars. And so yes, prophets, they all might have some accuracy to it, but remember, you're the resonant power and you're the one that knows the truth, and that's all that matters. All right. Jake says, is everything happening inside my head and my consciousness alone creating every minute? So I do think that in the spiritual community, and this relates to Justin's comment that he had previously, that I'm a figment of his imagination, that that even if it's true that everything is happening on the inside, that it works against you if you disregard everybody on the outside as if they're a part of your imagination. So it may be true, but it's not important. You will interact and have a better experience in this simulation illusion, in this world that you're in, if you treat them as if they're real. You can see them, an aspect of you inside, but if you continually think that nobody else is real, then it undermines you. It undermines your ability to love and treat others. And so don't get obsessed with that. Let it go. Yeah, everybody's a part of you, but you're a part of everybody else. And we're learning how to become one, not just one person, but one together. Yes, everything happening in my head. Yes, but who are you? Exactly. Thank you, Rafa. Thank you for letting us hear Bob Marley in our minds, Osman. Dorian says, Brian, pouring your energy into your now moment, not projecting in the past or wanted future. Do you believe this is linear or non-linear thinking? I believe that everything is happening in the now moment, even stuff that's in our past or in the future as we understand it. So if I am pouring everything into the now moment, I am pouring everything into the past and the future. If I want to be creative, I want to have an experience that will, in my linear thinking, happen in the future. But at the same time, I'm aware that I'm creating it in the moment. So it's a physics philosophical question that's not super important, but there is some levels of reality creation that say to stay in the moment. And I say it's okay to think of the future. And I think that it's powerful to think of the future from the moment as if it's happening in the moment. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you. Colleen, what do you want? Oh, Steve asks, how do I let go? This is a great question. We all have to learn how to let go of certain things, and there's some great techniques, and everybody can find their own way to let go. But to truly let go is to forget, where it's not something that's brought up in us, and we don't think about it anymore. And so sometimes letting go, you have to replace. You have to replace it with something that's better, or you have to experience something better, or distract yourself, or you can ask yourself, how do I let this go? And it's all an emotional connection that you have, and it's kind of related to whatever it is in particular that you're letting go. And so you don't necessarily have to let go, but you can reduce the importance of it, and that is similar in effect to letting it go. Thank you, Tamira. I appreciate you too. Artie, great idea, great question. How to make revision easier? It can be hard. I think that anytime we visualize in the past, present, or future, it can be hard. And some people are good at it. Some people are really, really good at it. How do we make it easier? Uh, I don't know if there is a way to make it easier without practice. Practice will make things easier by continually practicing. And that's the best thing that I can recommend. Just going into meditation and imagining what it is that you want. If you struggle with it, don't give up on it. It will get easier. Thank you, Pollyanna. I appreciate you. Thank you, Hat. I appreciate that. Sending blessings and loves and prayer to everyone too, Osman. I appreciate you. Leah, are you asking me a question or are you just making a statement? If you're asking me a question, then tell me what the question is that you want me to answer. Real World asks, is anything designed to have meaning? I think everything is designed to have meaning. Everything does have meaning. Olafunke, I would love to organize an Indiana meetup. I've never been to Indiana, so it may not be on my list, but at some point, brother, I promise we'll meet. Yes, good point, Swiftwalker. Replace letting go with releasing. That's easier. Sometimes we're never going to let something go, but we can release it. We can have a bird that we release. We still know the bird's there and we love it, but we let it go. We release it. Let's see. Jake's asked, have I come across the concept of the multiverse hinted at in various cultures and religions? Jake's, I would recommend you read my book, The Reality Revolution, where I talk about my own experience. I believe I've traveled through the multiverse. I continue to travel through it. I think I've gotten to be a sort of astronaut in the multiverse, and a lot of my videos have addressed this concept, and I've given techniques in it. I do believe in the multiverse. Check out my previous interview with Rizwan Virk, where we talk about the multiverse. I do believe it. I have experienced it. It is something I'm still trying to understand, and I believe it has a spiritual component. And in Rizwan Virk's book, The Simulated Multiverse, he gives some really great examples spiritually, biblically, with different religions of the multiverse. Thank you, Pollyanna. Thank you, Osman. Benita, how can I get rid of the past bad experiences and not carry them into the future? Like I said, check out my previous answer to this. You can revise the incident. You can bring it up and send it love and try to reduce your emotional attachment to it. Tina says, we can transmute the anger to happiness through intention. It's true. Through intention, we can transmute anger to happiness. Intention is the key to everything that we want. And the answer to most of the questions that you have is intention. JSI says, Brian, you read Neville Goddard talking about releasing the people that caused you pain. It was wonderful and powerful. Thank you, brother. Or sister. I don't know. All right. I didn't say you were a pest, Leah. That was a projection. I just asked you what the question was. All right. I think we're getting close to being done. If anybody has any other questions. Thank you, Valeria. So I'm hoping everybody had a fantastic Friday. I'm so sorry I haven't done this more often. We need to do this more often. So next time you can send me some questions and I'll try to give you some better answers. Please make sure to check out the links. Join me for 2 full days and a half day of the Large Sums of Money conference on Zoom, so I can talk to you and see you in the face. We can answer questions, and I can dedicate myself specifically to you to help you to achieve the miracle that you deserve, to manifest the money that you want. I see this for everybody. It's my goal that everybody achieve true prosperity so they feel free to move forward spiritually in their life. And I want that for everybody. I've done my best to create meditations and episodes about this, but I really want to dedicate time to you. And I want to know your story. I want to know how to support your business. I want to know what struggles that you're going on. And I want to dedicate several days to doing it, to meditating about it, to helping you do it. I love you all so much. You're amazing. I can't wait for that amazing experience. So check that out. November 18th, 19th, and the 20th. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Nissa. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, One Alien. Thank you. Thank you. Love you all. Say it with me. Welcome to the reality revolution. I'll see you guys.